Hello guys, good day to you and welcome to my video playlist on introduction to DAX functions. So what exactly is DAX? DAX means data analysis expression. DAX is an acronym for data analysis expression. So DAX is used as a function, so we can see DAX as the collection of functions and formulas that we can use in Microsoft Power BI to make data manipulation and to explore our data. In Microsoft Excel, we have functions, we have formulas. In SQL, we have queries. Then in Microsoft Power BI, we have something we call DAX, D-A-X. Now, how does DAX work and how can we make use of it in Microsoft Power BI desktop? So the first thing that we're going to be doing is to bring in data into our desktop and to start making use of DAX and see how they can be used. We have varieties of DAX functions that we're going to be trying out as far as this video is concerned. We're going to be looking at the date functions, we're going to be looking at functions, we're going to be looking at time intelligence functions, we're going to be looking at logical functions, and so on and so forth. Now, to start with, what exactly and how exactly can we make use of DAX functions in Microsoft Power BI? We use DAX functions to create mainly three things in Microsoft Power BI, so we can call them three items. So we use DAX to create columns, we use DAX to create tables, and we use DAX to create measures. In hierarchical, table comes first, then followed by columns, then followed by measures. Without a table, you cannot populate, without tables, you can populate or bring in columns. So you need tables before you can be able to populate the columns. So that means we have to create table first before creating columns and before creating measures. So now, how can we create tables in Microsoft Power BI desktop using DAX? So we can create tables in different ways and with different functions depending on the requirements and what exactly that we want to create. So firstly, let us try and bring in data into our Microsoft Power BI desktop. Then from there, we start making use and see how we can make use of the DAX functions. So as you know before, that Microsoft Power BI desktop has one unique ability, and it is the ability to connect to a variety of sources. So we can see here, we have a variety of sources that we can connect our Microsoft Power BI desktop to. But to maintain consistencies, and also for folks that are going to be asking about the data sets that we are using for the class, so I'm going to be making use of the sample data set that comes with Microsoft Power BI desktop. So here, if you want to have access to it, you can simply create a new blank report and import the sample data set from there. So the Microsoft Power BI desktop is going to load up, and then we're going to load the sample data set, which is going to be available, actually for everyone that have access to Microsoft Power BI desktop. So this is the Power BI desktop interface, and it is loading up. This is where we are going to be loading our sample data into Microsoft Power BI desktop, as you can see. So we have import data from Excel, import data from SQL Server, paste data into a blank table if you want to create a table yourself, and then we have use sample data. So I'm going to be using this option and then load sample data into my Power BI desktop. So Power BI desktop is going to establish a connection to the data set and then bring it down to the interface. Then the first thing I'm going to be doing is to do the extraction, so which is the financial. I want to work with the financial table, so I will extract the data. So instead of transforming, since data cleaning is not part or within the scope of this video, so I'm going to be loading the video directly into Power BI desktop without cleaning. The data is already cleaned, so there is no point, and to save time, we don't have to use the transform data option. So I'm going to load this data directly into Power BI desktop. And then in Power BI, we have three views in Power BI desktop. Four views in Power BI desktop. We have the table view, we have the report view, we have the table view, we have the model view, we have the DAX query view. So these are the places that we're going to be going if we have anything to change as far as our data is concerned, or if we want to navigate to a particular manipulation. We also have what we call the panes, P-A-N-E-S. So we have the data pane, visualization pane, and then we have the filter pane. The data pane is where we have access to the data that we are working with. So if you want to have access to all the columns that are inside of financial, so you can come to the data pane and navigate or click on the drop down, so we have access. Now we have the financial data set. The first thing that we're going to be looking at is, don't forget I said before that we use DAX to create three things in Power BI desktop. We can use it to create a table, we can use it to create a column, and we can use it to create measures. Now let's start with creating a table. So to create a table in Power BI desktop, we are going to click on the existing table, then we're going to have access to the table tools. Or you can simply right click on the table, but you will not have access to create a new table. You have access to creating a new column and measures inside of the table. But to create a new table, just simply click on the existing table, then you are going to have the option for table tools. In the table tools, you have new table, new column, and new measure. Those are the three things that I mentioned earlier that we can use DAX to create. Now I'm going to be going for new table firstly. So now in Microsoft Power BI desktop, anytime you have option or if you want to create anything, be it table, column, or measure, the first thing that comes before the equals to sign, the one that is there is just the line number. That means we are on line 1, so that cannot change. But you see this table, this is the default name that Power BI is going to supply to the table that you want to create. As you can see, we are already having table. So if you don't want that to be or to have table as the name, then you can simply change it to whatever name that you want. Let's say for example we want to create a date table. So we are going to simply put date equals, so anything that comes before the equals to sign is the name that you want to assign to that element, and whatever that comes after the equals to sign is the functions that you want to apply. So to create date table in Microsoft Power BI desktop, we have two major functions that we use. The first one is called calendar auto, and the second one is called calendar. One of the reasons why we have to create a date table in Microsoft Power BI desktop is because of consistency. Some data that you import may not have consistent date table or date columns. So if you have inconsistency, as you all know, inconsistency can affect your data. So in most cases, you are required to create a date table, although depending on your requirements and the instruction that you are working towards. Now, I have supplied the name that I want to use for the date table, which is date equals. Then I'm going to supply the formula that I want to use, calendar auto. Let us try calendar auto first and see how it works. Calendar auto does not really require any argument from you. As you can see, it's going to ask you for the fiscal year end month if you have or if you are working with a year that is not in the normal way. There are some people that end their year September. So school calendar runs from September to August. So it is not from January to December. So if you have a fiscal year that you want to supply, then you can put that option. But in this case, we don't have any. So I'm going to run and say, okay, calendar auto automatically generate a calendar for me. That is, create a table using calendar from automatically. So the automatic function here is to look inside of financial, fetch the date that is there, look for the end date and the start date, then populate this table with it. So if I run this, then a date table is going to be created. If I click on the date view, the table view, then I'm going to see that the date that I just created is now populating from 1st of January 2013. Now, how did this guy decided to go or to start from 1st of January 2013? Why did they not pick from 1976? Why is it not any random date? Why is it picking specifically from 2013? So basically what happened is that anytime you used calendar auto, this guy comes inside of your existing table, look at the date that you have there presently, and then look for the start date and the end date. So inside of the date table or the date column that we have inside of financial, let us confirm what exactly is inside there. So if I click on the date, Then let me try and sort ascending. Then you will see that the date is starting from September 9, I mean 1st of September 2013. If I try to do descending, then you see that the data is ending 1st of December 2014. Now, in this date table is starting from 1st of January 2013 instead of 1st of September. So one of the major problem that Calendar Auto actually do is it's going to maintain a consistent day from the start of the year to the end of the year. Now in this case, we cannot use Calendar Auto because it is picking more than and less than what we are supposed to have. So we are supposed to have 1st of January, 1st of September 2013, then ending 1st of December 2014. So in that case, Calendar Auto is not a good option for us because this guy will actually pick it up automatically without us having that much authority on how we want to control it. So in this case, we are going to go with calendar instead of Calendar Auto. Then how can we use calendar inside of Microsoft Power BI desktop? So we're going to say calendar. Then the first argument that it is asking us is to supply the start date. Where is the date starting from? Then I'm going to say, okay, then using the date function so that I can have the proper way to write the date. So using the date function, I'm going to say, hey, the date is starting from the year. The year is 2013, comma, the month is what? 9, which is September, and the day is what? 1st. Then close up the brackets. Now I have supplied the start date. Then the next thing is to supply the end date. Then I'm going to put date again. Then the year is what? 2014. The month is what? December, and the day is what? 1. So the date is starting from 1st of September 2013 and it is ending 1st of December 2014. So if I run this, then I'm going to discover that this date is now appearing exactly the same way that it's supposed to. Now I have 1/9/2013, then it's ending 1/12/2014, exactly the same way that I have it inside of the financial data set. So this is one of the simple way to create a date table in Microsoft Power BI desktop using DAX. In the next video, we are going to be looking at how to populate the date table with different columns such as the month, to extract the year, the quarter, the date name, and so on and so forth. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. See you in the next video. Thank you.